Hi there, I'm Dr. Ron Wuest, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how the secret to avoiding burnout isn't meditation. It's not seeing a psychiatrist or even a therapist. The secret is not making these 8 mistakes early in your career. So if you're an early or mid-career physician, and you currently feel burned out, you're in the right place. This video is for you. I know you've sacrificed for years. You've got yourself into debt. Some of you are living paycheck to paycheck. You want to get out of this rat race. I know this because I went through it myself, and you just need some guidance from someone who's been there, and especially avoid these 8 mistakes early on in your career. By the end of today's video, I'm going to show you how to avoid these mistakes, and the most critical things you can do so you don't get burned out, and they're financial, not necessarily emotional, how not to fall into the trap of working 50 to 80 hours a week and resenting your career, and a path towards helping you achieve emotional well-being and financial freedom. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm Dr. Ron Wuest. I've been a psychiatrist for 34 years, and I'm dedicated in the next part of my career to helping early and mid-career physicians live their best lives in under 10 minutes per day, because frankly, medical school never taught us to care for ourselves. So let's review what the medicine trap is. You've finally become an attending physician. You feel like you've made it. You have a sense of real accomplishment and relief. You can finally stop delaying all the gratification you've put off through years of study and hard work. So you go ahead and you buy that house, and before you know it, you have a few kids, lifestyle creep sets in, and soon your living expenses have increased to the point that you realize if you just worked a few more hours, then you can finally give your family the life you've always wanted to. Before you know it, you've fallen into the medicine trap. You're working so much, you don't even have time to enjoy your family in the way you want, let alone take care of yourself. You know there's got to be a better way, but you're not sure what steps to take. So we're going to be discussing the 8 biggest mistakes early and mid-career physicians make and how to avoid them so you don't fall into the medicine trap. So mistake number 1 is not knowing what your life's work is. So I've been a psychiatrist for 34 years, and I realized that people are really working on the same things. There's really 7 primary responsibilities or North Stars that people have. And these are mental and emotional, spiritual. Spiritual would be, what do we need to do to live our best lives in the company of other people? How do we give? How do we have purpose and meaning in our lives? Then there's mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, interpersonal health, your professional life, your financial life, and finally, your experiential life. What kind of experiences do you want to have in the time that you're here? Some may just be spending time with their family. Others may be traveling and seeing the world. So that's your life work. And I think a lot of people confuse their life's work with being a physician rather than taking care of themselves in these 7 very important areas. Mistake number 2 is confusing your profession with your life's work. So that is, as I just was saying, you think being a doctor is your life's work, but then you're neglecting these 7 primary responsibilities. That's going to catch up with you and be your doing in if you're not focusing on all these areas together. Professional life is just one area that's going to be critically important. Mistake number 3 is confusing your profession with your business. Well, what's the difference? Your profession or vocation is being a doctor, A lot of people think, well, if I just make that kind of money, I'll be okay. But that's far from the truth. Your business is taking care of your financial health and creating financial abundance for you and your family. And this is an area that obviously doctors don't get a lot of training in, and you need to develop a knowledge base and skill set that's important for you to really understand how to make a return, because the salary that a physician lives on really is all dependent on what are your expenses. And if your expenses are just as high as your salary, it's not going to make any difference. Mistake number 4 is not knowing what your 2 biggest expenses are. Well, your 2 biggest expenses are really your taxes and your mortgage. And taxes, there are lots of tax strategies to really help you and lower your taxes, and we'll talk about those later. And then not buying a mortgage which is too big initially on. I've seen this over and over again where physicians will buy that dream house early on. They become house poor, and there's almost no way then for them to save and invest any money at all for their financial future. Mistake number 5 is having high expenses as a new attending. The risk of falling, this will really increase the risk of falling into the medicine trap. So keeping your expenses low is critical. I always advise, now the more you can save, the better, but I want you to also have a great life. So the 50-30-20 rule is 50% for basic living expenses, 30% for investing, for saving and investing, and then 20% for luxuries, whether those would be vacations, but things that are really critical of critical importance to your experiential life. So delaying buying that dream home early in your career is critically important so you don't become house poor. Mistake number 6 is a lack of education about money and finance. Doctors avoid this. They're so busy. You know, the half-life of medicine is so short that keeping up with medicine is a huge task. But if you're working 40 hours and then you're trying to keep up with your medical education, it doesn't leave a lot of time to really build skills in other areas that are critical, whether it's emotional and mental skills, whether it's financial, learning how to invest, whether it's taking care of your physical health. In other videos, I've talked about how that was something I think I really neglected. So it's critically important that you educate yourself regarding those 7 North Stars, which is what this channel will be about. And one of the emphasis has to be on learning knowledge and skills so you can invest the money that you're making as a physician. Mistake number 7 is not understanding how to make passive income outside of your job. So this is probably one of the most critically important things that I learned. I learned this from Robert Kiyosaki, and I try to simplify his ideas. Learning how to buy things that generate money while you're sleeping, like real estate or businesses, is very important. Otherwise, the only way you'll have to make a greater income is to work longer and harder. Working longer and harder is going to lead to physician burnout, and this is going to be a big problem as you go through your life, because you'll fall into the medicine trap. Learning how to make money while you're sleeping is what passive income is. And I'm not talking about money as an issue of being greedy. Money, again, is optionality that allows you to buy time, that is, by working less. or it allows you to have the experiences you want. It's a currency for optionality in your life, and that's why it's so important, and everyone has to use it. Mistake number 8, not hiring a bookkeeper and understanding where you are and where you want to go. So hiring a bookkeeper can be really important. You have to understand profit loss statements and balance sheets. I like to think of them like this. A profit loss says how much income do you bring in and where are your expenses and what's left over. And that can be useful on a monthly or even annual basis. But the balance sheet says, what do you have? It's kind of looking at a video of your past life and saying, how successful have you been in building up in wealth and achieving wealth accumulation? It also sets out a roadmap and gives you some financial clarity and allows you actually to do, if you want to be more diligent, it allows you to budget. You can budget one way by saying 50% is going towards living expenses, 30% towards saving and investing, 20% for vacations or cars. But knowing where you are and where you're going is important, and to see if you're making progress is critical. So if I could give my younger self some guidelines, I would say keeping expenses low, following the 50, 30, 20% rule. Critical. If you can do better than that, by all means do. Learning about the 7 North Stars, particularly learning how to invest, is one of the things that we focus on wealth and wellness. The importance of understanding financial statements. This is something physicians really dread, don't want to look at, but the more you start looking at it, the more you'll start to understand. For those of you who have interest in this type of education, there may be a link below. If you want to join my free coaching program, I still have a few spots open to this absolutely free program. It's going to be the first and only time I'm offering this to early and mid-career physicians. So if you're interested in that, click on the link below. All I ask for is your honest feedback so I can refine this program, because the next stage of my career is really helping early and mid-career physicians avoid burnout. I'm going to teach you what I wish I had learned at your age. That's all I've got for today's video. You have a great day.